Our team was approached by the Gwinnett County Department of Water Resources with a problem of theirs regarding one of the lakes in their management. The director of this project, Mr. Brandon Harris, explained to us that a section of Rosora Lake in Tribble Mill Park has recently developed an unexplained algal bloom.
From Mr. Harris's explanations, an algal bloom typically occurs when there is an excess amount of nutrients in bodies of water that causes algae to grow and to cover an area. Many negative effects occur from this, not just to the wildlife, but to the surrounding environment as well.
Our task as a group was to prevent the further occurrences of these blooms, and along the way, possibly discover the exact cause of the algal bloom in the first place.
So how do we approach this? Following the framework of the design thinking process, we went to work.
Our first step was to empathize. We needed to see all the different perspectives about the issue to understand what we were dealing with.
To do this, we had to go to the park and survey the area for ourselves. We walked around the area with the outreach manager and he showed us where the algae had grown, which helped us to understand the physical dimensions of our problem. We could then list out anyone who could potentially be impacted by the algae and the solution, from the surrounding neighborhoods to the fish in the lake.
The next step was research. This involved consulting with professionals, reading research papers, and compiling all our findings.
From everything we gathered and discussed, our group came up with the one sentence that would guide the rest of our solution, our how might we question. With the dilemma occurring at Rosora Lake, how might we remove and prevent algal blooms without harming the wildlife and the surrounding bodies of water? From what we discussed, our solution would eventually need to fulfill 3 specific criteria.
1. The solution needed to stop the algae from regrowing after winter ended and the temperature rose.
2. The solution needed to prevent the algae from growing in the area completely.
And 3. Our solution needed to keep the environment healthy.
From what we discussed with the researchers and professionals, whatever solution we came up with would depend strongly on the sort of conditions the lake was already in. Established solutions in the field had very specific criteria, and our team had to figure out which conditions we were dealing with before deciding on a proper solution.
Thankfully, the labs at the University of Georgia were willing to help us out.
Our team decided that the best thing to do would be to collect water samples from Rosora Lake directly and analyze them for the information we needed. So on a cold and rainy Friday, we did just that.
Our samples were then sent off for analysis, and whatever they said would determine our next move.
While waiting for the water sampling results, our team went ahead and generated multiple possible solutions to our algal bloom problem, each with a different criteria to focus on. Our plan was not to produce one single solution to the issue, but to combine multiple into a more in-depth solution that would cover all the necessary bases.
We then sent our prototypes to Mr. Harris, and he gave us valuable feedback as to what each solution could do and how likely it would be for the given area. All of us were very open to our prototypes as they depended strongly on the results of our water samples.
When our water samples came back, we knew what we had to do. All the tests from the lake were normal, save for one lacking nutrients.
With this in mind, our group knew what our final solution would be.
Combined with our prototypes, our final solution was established. Barley straw with a lime solution that would help mitigate the algal bloom, and Rosora Lake would be back to a healthy state. Problem solved.
During the process of researching, sampling, and prototyping, our team had to learn a lot about tackling big problems.
Specifically, I learned how to break a problem up into its smaller components so we could solve the issue from a larger scope, instead of just dealing with the problem as a whole. Using the smaller components, we could better find a solution for what we needed.
One thing I specifically learned about was that before selecting a solution, we must think about what the problem really is and how it affects people, and how the solution also will affect people.
One thing I learned from this project is how to use the design thinking process to better create a solution that has the end user's wants and needs in mind from the first step. I'd like to thank Brandon Harris and John Butler from the Gwinnett Department of Water Resources, and you, the viewer, for watching our Internship 2020 video.